Hello, welcome to Brewing Reviews. I'm your host Pierre, and today we're doing another review on a beer that's called the Yeti Imperial Stout. Now, I said this is a whole new segment. This is only a third weekend, so it's trying something new. I've been making a lot of beers, so I get different characteristics and different ideas I know from the beers, and different flavor notes I didn't have knowledge of before, and how they all go together. But this one is an Imperial Stout, which means it's a lot higher IBUs. It's a lot higher alcohol content. It's about 10% alcohol, and it's about 75 IBUs, as it states on the bottle. 75 IBUs is fairly high. I've seen some as high as 150 IBUs. That one is strong as hell. I probably wouldn't really suggest that to many people, depending on how you like bitterness. If you like bitterness, then you'll love it. But it have a good flavor when I had it. It's just so bitter. That was actually from Glasstown Brewery, which is right down in Millville, not that far from me. It's called their Guns and Guts, where they basically, I believe, put in 9 different hop additions. And the blending of the hops had such a strong bombardment of flavor on the palate. It has some nutty notes, it has some citrus notes, some sour notes. It had just tons of different flavor. But it was so bitter. At 150 IBUs, that was strong. But it was palatable. Definitely couldn't drink a whole bottle of that. You drink a bottle of that, and you go to bed or something right after, you'll wake up and everything will just be like burning on fire. But this one, it is 75 IBUs, which is fairly high. But one thing about with the higher IBUs, if you have a lot of sugary, maybe putting stuff like your lactose or oatmeal in there, different things that gives it unfermentable sugars that the sugar will stay in, whereas everything else basically will ferment out. That helps take that bitterness, calm it down some. Also, in the case of a dark stout, is the roasted flavor help also counteract that bitter flavor to it. So it doesn't taste as bitter as you think it would, but 75 is still pretty high. But let's see how this one tastes. You see it's really, really thick. Which means it has a lot of unfermentables in there. And it is almost completely brown, thick head that it has to it. Another thing also about this is this bottle, it was bottled in November 6th of 2013. So this is almost 2 years old. The one thing about stouts, I would probably wouldn't suggest this with like a light beer, because the light beer is probably not aged very well. But dark beer, the longer it ages, the more your flavors come out, because you have all them different non-fermentable sugars, which will help mellow out the beer. Now, especially if you have, in this case, this is a Imperial IPA or Imperial Stout, so you have the higher alcohol contents, the more sugars, the longer the sugar stay in there and help calm it and make it smoother. It takes that bitterness and the strong alcohol notes, calms it down. You really want to have this thing day after bottling. That's one thing about the Imperial IPAs, Imperial Stouts. It's a lot of alcohol. You want to enjoy a beer. If you want to have a lot of alcohol flavor, make a cocktail. Try one of my cocktails. I got about 600 of them. Definitely perfect for trying it. But this one, it's strong, but it's definitely toasted flavor. One thing I'm getting out of that, it's sweet. As you can tell, it's really, really thick. It has a dark foam head to it. It's pitch black. I bet if you shine a light through this, you won't see a thing. It is just that black. It's at least, considering the fact I made a black IPA that was about 45 to 48 SRM, and that was black. You couldn't see nothing through it, and it had that dark brown head to it. This is probably around about the same, between 40, 45 SRM, maybe 50 SRM. So the higher the SRM, obviously the darker the beer. If you want to make like a Budweiser, you're looking maybe 4 SRM, so it's like no darkness at all. Now, getting a lot of roasted notes out of that. Kind of a bit of a salty smell. See how it tastes though. It's like you get that strong roasted flavor right off the beginning. Then it gets nice and sweet, a lot smoother. And then that's when the bitterness hits you. Because the 75 IBUs, you don't really get that right off the bat. Because it's so sweet and so roasted amount of flavor to that, it calms the bitterness down, but then that's when the bitterness comes out in the end. Definitely get a little bit of a caramel note in that finish. Kind of, this is an odd way of saying it, but it kind of has a bit of a steak taste to it. Because that's one thing also about this, it says the perfect pairing is with a steak. It kind of has that roasted kind of steak flavor, surprisingly. So this would be perfect to have with your steaks or any type of roasted barbecues you have or whatever, because this will complement it very well because it has that bit of a salty notes to it, kind of like a salted caramel, if that makes sense, and definitely a little bit of toffee out of the end of that. But I'm not sure if it's just because the fact that it was aged or if it's the fact that it just has such a sweet roasted characteristics, but you won't really taste the alcohol burn out of that. It's not strong in that aspect, but it is strong in flavor. That's one thing I am getting out of that. But it's really good. I believe for a 4-pack of this, I paid about maybe $14. That's one thing about craft beers compared to like going out there and buying Budweiser. Craft beers, it's a lot of work that goes into them. It's not just throwing them together. It's not a big, massive brew scale that they do. A lot of these are small batch brews, and that's why they can pump out so many different flavors, especially when it comes time to those different seasons, like your Christmas and Oktoberfest and just the fall. Fall, if you like craft beers, fall is the best time for craft beers because there's so many different ones out there. But this one, I don't believe this is really seasonal. Maybe it might be a seasonal one, maybe like a Christmas. I don't know because Yeti, snow. But it's good. I definitely suggest you try this. It's from Great Divide Brewing Company. They're in Denver, Colorado. So if you're here in the Colorado area and you're nearby their brewery, check it out. You won't be disappointed. Guarantee you can probably find this around your local shops. If not, ask them. They might be able to get a hold of it. But it's definitely worth trying out. If you like that dark, roasted, savory type of beer, and definitely potent at 10% alcohol, that will hit you, but it just balances out real well with that, the bitterness, everything else. But let me know what you guys think of this beer. If you have any particular stouts that you like, if you like the idea of an Imperial Stout, or if you like a more balanced stout, if you like a flavored stout, like in case I want to make an oatmeal brown sugar stout, which I can't wait to make. I gotta wait till roughly around September. I'm hoping I have enough time and money for around that September time to make that, because I really been wanting to make this ever since I came up with the idea. The recipe's sitting in my app right now, just wait for me to make it. But let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Contest Beer Cocktails, subscribe to the channel, submit your cocktails, find the link below. Submit them away. I have plenty of different ideas, but I need your guys' ideas too for cocktails. Plus, I'd love to make them on the show. But as always, drink responsibly.